Thank you for joining us. We live in an age in which new ideas are implemented in many fields, including education. Imagine a high school, unlike any other, where education is imparted through first-hand experience, where students learn about Israel by being there, where the classroom is the land of Israel itself, as students visit the places where history was made. Such a school is the Muss High School in Israel, where students gain a broader view of the world and develop a deeper appreciation of history and develop valuable new learning skills and perspectives that will help them throughout high school and college. Our guest today is the Chief Executive Officer of the Muss High School in Israel, Jonah Geller, who will join us right after these messages and a short video clip.
Welcome to the Life Extension Foundation, providing innovative answers to your healthcare questions. Can't find healthcare information that allows you to take control of your life? Then visit the Life Extension Foundation online for real answers to your questions. For free information about breakthrough therapies your doctor may not know about, access the Foundation's website at www.lef.org.
Call us today for your free, no-obligation information packet.
AMHSI changed my life in so many different ways. Most likely the best thing I've ever done.
In one word, incredible.
It was the best experience I ever had.
You will definitely regret it if you don't go, and you will never regret it if you do.
Hi there, I'm Jeremy Ginsberg, and I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I'd like to take you on an exciting journey with me.
Usually I don't feel much of a connection to being Jewish.
My parents always pressured me to date a Jewish boy.
I never really understood why I had to study Jewish history.
We want our children to know their heritage, to know their identity.
I go to Hopkins High School. It's a public school in Minnesota. A year ago, someone from Muss High School in Israel came to my summer camp and offered us a chance to go to Israel with other kids from around America for 2 months. It sounded interesting. I talked to my parents and they thought it was a great idea. So, here I am. Looks like a vacation, right? Well, it is, but it's so much more. Check it out.
Our core program deals with the history of Israel and the Jewish people. Over a period of 8 weeks, we teach the 4,000-year history of the Jewish people up until the present day. We also explore and discuss the issues that face life here in Israel on a daily basis.
Don't worry, Mom. I'm keeping up with my other classes, too. All right. AMHSI is an American high school which is fully accredited by the Middle States Association of Colleges and High Schools. Sounds like a mouthful, but it basically means that my high school accepts my credits from Israel. So I can come to Israel, study here for 8 weeks, and not miss out on a single thing from my high school. With a teacher for every subject you could imagine here. I have my French class now. Bonjour. Ça va?
We knew the history that she would learn would be terrific because we had heard so much about it. However, we were also concerned about other subjects like math and science.
If she needed extra help, the help was there. The instructors were fabulous. In many cases, she thought they were more helpful than her instructors back in the States.
The progress that she had shown when she came back in all those areas was just much more than we had expected. It was terrific.
A large part of the actual teaching on the core program takes place outside the classroom. AMHSI really revolutionized the way history is taught. The land, the country becomes a living textbook. When we learn about biblical times, we go to Mount Gilboa. When we learn about the Jews fighting against the Romans in the Great Revolt, we travel to Masada. When we learn about the Holocaust, we go to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial Museum. The students can touch it, they can feel it, they can see it with their own eyes. and that's something they can't get from any textbook. In Jerusalem, like all the places that we travel to, the program takes us on a journey through past, present, and future.
Jerusalem!
Program that I think speaks in such universal terms to all young people and allows them to have both an intellectual connection, a personal connection to exploring their Jewish identity.
It's important to produce a strong Jewish youth leadership all around the world, and AMHSI is the leading player in the field.
I think that was probably the first time in my life that I ever felt that being Jewish was something that was important and that there was something to be discovered.
It's a program that will not only teach you 4,000 years of your history, of your roots, of your background, but also will give you a better understanding of the life that you want to build for yourself in your present and in your future.
The updates were fabulous. Chaim sent these wonderful updates that I would forward to everyone I knew. They made you feel like you were absolutely there, and the pictures also, we couldn't wait to get them, and they were just fabulous.
We're very proud that since 1972 we brought students from all over the United States. Recently we began to expand our activities to Australia. We're hoping to bring students from Canada, and this summer there will be students here from Lithuania as well. Therefore we're building more campuses so that we can bring students from all over the English-speaking world.
In addition to our classic Alexander Muss High School in Israel 2-month study program, we also partner with day schools from the United States and all over the world, making specific programs according to how they ask us to customize it for them. Some of them even choose to go to Poland to study about European Jewry, either on their way to Israel or in the middle while they're studying the Holocaust. One of the wonderful things about the day school programs is that we can have 3 and even 4 schools on campus at the same time, enabling American Jewish students from all over the United States to interact with each other religiously, spiritually, academically, and socially.
A feeling of a global community that you've really never seen before.
Any teenager should go to AMHSI. It's an amazing program, and you're missing out if you don't get to experience Israel in its fullest.
As you can see, my friends and I all agree that AMHSI is an amazing place where kids can come together and have a wonderful time. But you've got to experience it for yourself. Right, guys? Right. As for me, I've got a big day tomorrow, and I've got to get some sleep. Good night.
Joining us now is Jonah Geller of High School in Israel. It's a real pleasure to have you on the show. Please tell our audience what the correct name is.
The Alexander Muss High School in Israel.
And you're new with this organization, I understand.
New full-time, although I was a madrich, a counselor, back in the mid to late 90s. And I know the program pretty well, but I'm happy and thrilled to be back.
What is unique about the organization?
I think it's one of the more aggressive programs for high school students to get a true sense of the land of Israel. So much so that they are living in Israel, not just on a bus or in a youth hostel. They live on a campus, they set up their rooms, very much like college dormitories. And from there, they learn the history of Israel, the culture of Israel, and then they get out every week, multiple times a week, to see the people, the land, the food, the language, so forth and so on. So they have their own base within an Israeli school, boarding school, and they also get out to see Israel on a regular basis as well.
Jonah, I have long admired the initiatives such as Birthright and what you're doing, High School in Israel, as being so imperative, having such a profound influence on the goodwill of these individuals, young people who will eventually be part of the community, and so many of whom have lost touch with what really is important. Let's dwell on that a little. Tell us your thoughts on this.
I think it's a great question. I think that today's society, teenagers have so many choices of what to do after school, let alone for 2 months during the year or during the summer, how they're going to spend their summers, what are they going to do to better enhance their chances to get into the right college, the right university. And there's a lot of pressure being put on them from parents and guidance counselors and so forth and so on. I think for a Jewish teenager who maybe has never been to Israel, to take this opportunity, which is definitely the road less traveled. Maybe most of his or her friends will not choose this program or any program in Israel, but the return on this investment is enormous in terms of a teenager's ability to find his or her connection to Israel in its own way. Not necessarily on a federation trip or a big mega mission, but here a teenager from towns that maybe don't have so many Jews, or maybe even larger towns that multiple generations have gone on the program at this point. It's a real opportunity to explore connections to Israel. And then from there, maybe decide to come back for a longer period of time, get involved with the Teen Fellows program with the JNF, for instance, being a better advocate for Israel in university or at Hillel's or on campus, not to mention the life skills that a participant gains from traveling to Israel without family members and learning some independence and self-confidence as well.
Jonah, I must apologize to our audience for the noise in the background. We are filming here in a hotel in Atlanta and can't help it. Jonah, how do you perceive the challenges facing social values in our modern society in general? People seem to be more jaded and perhaps less dedicated to the old-fashioned ideologies and morality that perhaps were so perhaps more to be preferred. What are your thoughts on that?
My thinking here is that I think people are still searching for meaning. And wherever, whether it's a yoga class or a trip to Israel or traveling down to New Orleans and working with Habitat for Humanity, or doing anything that they feel is really rewarding and gives them a sense of purpose, that's what people are still looking for. No matter how quick technology is, less patient. I think a trip to Israel allows them to slow down, maybe not have all the pressures of, especially for teenagers that are driving or using the internet and all their cell phones and those kinds of things, to leave most of that at home, to take time to gain a perspective and opportunity to establish new relationships, not just relationships with Israelis, but relationships with other peers from around the country who might be experiencing the same type of journey. So we're all looking, many people are looking to slow down as well. And this gives them the chance to do that. And I think the pressures of society and parents and colleges and grad school programs and the job world, everything's happening a lot faster. But at the same time, we're still looking for meaning and purpose. And this is certainly a way that many people have found it.
How do you see the challenges facing Israel as a whole in this rather dramatic time in history?
Yeah, I mean, Israel's security is clearly the number one priority on all of our minds, and we all value the land of Israel and the people of Israel and what Israel stands for in our religion and our culture more than anything. I think that is the epicenter of where this all started. And for us to do anything we can to further educate people, young people, to speak on behalf of Israel as much as they feel comfortable, to be able to ward off anti-Semitism, to be able to educate others about why Israel is so important, even to their own family members, their own friends, their own people back in their community, I think is extremely valuable. And only with a trip to Israel and to see it live firsthand can someone truly understand the difficulties, the challenges, and yet the opportunities as well.
I understand your program also enables financial aid if necessary, and in fact there are other perks, credits and so forth. Tell us about this.
Sure. The program provides college credit for high school students who pay the additional cost, minimal cost, nominal cost actually, to take some of the courses they would otherwise at high school and gain college credit, either through Gratz College or the Miami University of Florida. So that is certainly an advantage with our program, that we're recognized as a serious institution of higher learning in that respect for high school students. The program, because of that and because of the investment that families need to make, is available for families to provide financial aid. Our goal is that no child is turned away from this experience, but it does require an investment on the family's part to invest in their child's Jewish identity. And by extension, of course, Jewish continuity is one of the results.
Tell us a little bit more about the reaction of the students and the impact you feel it has on their lives and future.
You know, as a counselor years ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I saw firsthand the impact that this program had on the participants. The relationships, the friendships, the memories, the appreciation of Israel, its struggle, the people of Israel, the language, food, the culture. Most people who have never been to Israel don't know much, and they form their own opinions, maybe through media, through what they've heard, second, third, fourth hand. But going there yourself, going there and spending the time really does enable an individual to create those relationships on his or her own. That's definitely one of the results. The long-lasting results are clearly what I was speaking about before in terms of gaining the self-confidence, independence, becoming more comfortable traveling and growing up. High school students who then go on to college are more comfortable in college, in that setting, in the dormitory setting, on colleges' campuses, because when they're with us, they have to make some of these decisions on their own as well. So there are a number of different results that we can attest to. In addition, of course, to Jewish values and Jewish identity is strengthened. They're probably more participatory on college campuses at their Hillels, and getting involved with organizations like the JNF, APAC, BBYO, Jewish community centers across the country.
Jonah, it's a wonderful program, and I want to thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'll be right back. Joining us now is Marvin Botnick, publisher of the Jewish Georgian. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
So you publish a Jewish newspaper that's been around for quite a while. Tell us about it a little.
Well, we publish it for the Jewish population of Georgia primarily, and we're primarily interested in presenting stories. We come out once every 2 months, so we're not a late-breaking news story. We try to give them background and history as to the development of the Jewish population in this area, stories of interest about what's going on, and to make them more aware of what it has taken to get us to where we are at this point. We're basically a human interest paper.
You've been in the publishing business for quite a while. How do you see your industry has changed? How is journalism evolving from your perspective?
The printed media is having less impact, and there's greater interest in the internet. But you know what the internet doesn't do is it doesn't give you the story behind the story. It gives you the headlines, and so we try to get into what is really involved. It's not as long as a magazine, but it's shorter than a short little couple of sentences on it. And you know, we don't normally get involved in politics and in national, international news, but we are involved in promoting an understanding of Israel to the general population. We print 16,000 copies. We distribute them primarily in metropolitan Atlanta, but we send them to the major towns in Georgia that have a Jewish population. The fact is, I was born and raised in the South. I came from a small town in South Mississippi. Jews were not very prominent in this area. It's a whole different culture than other areas of the country. As it turns out now, Atlanta has approximately 1% of the world's Jewish population is located in metropolitan Atlanta, which is sort of earth-shaking to us that there's that much of a concentration on the thing. So a lot of these people are affiliated and some are not, and we're trying to give them news about what is happening in the Jewish community.
Fascinating, really. I know a little bit about your community. I also remember the name Frank, the famous trial that occurred here many, many years ago. In fact, you know what? Tell our audience about that trial.
Well, it's the only case of the lynching of a Jew in the United States, and basically was the genesis of the Anti-Defamation League. The Anti-Defamation League formally came into existence as a result of that. It was a situation where a local manufacturing company made pencils, was owned by a Jewish family in Atlanta, and had a manager who was from New York, had come to Atlanta, married an Atlanta girl, and they found a little girl who worked in the factory, dead in the factory, had been strangled and sexually abused. It was an era when there was a transition in the South from an agrarian society where the people were leaving the farms and coming into the city. The kids were having to work in factories. There was a socialist movement that went against the corporate environment, and it turned out that the story turned, and Leo Frank was accused of the murder, was tried, convicted, sentenced to death. Governor Slayton commuted the sentence to a life imprisonment. He was sent to Milledgeville, the state penitentiary, and a group of people from Cobb County, which is now metropolitan Atlanta, left by a car convoy, I don't remember, 30 or 40 cars, drove to Milledgeville, walked into the prison, took Frank out, brought him back to Cobb County, and hung him in Cobb County. And that was a very difficult time in Atlanta. Some families, as a matter of fact, the former, I think it was Poet Laureate of the United States, his family, his father worked here, they left and went to Oklahoma, and then they never came back, and a lot of other families left Atlanta because of this threat.
Well, it's tragic that such things can occur in a civilized modern world, and in many people's minds the lessons even today of the Holocaust are not properly addressed or recognized. Is anti-Semitism still a problem in any form in Atlanta in general?
No, it's a problem in the world. I mean, it's something that is inbred. Supposedly 94% of the Germans before the Second World War were practicing practicing Christians, yet there was an inbred anti-Semitism that was there that fostered on that. And you know, there is anti-Semitism. It's not ripe, and it's. I grew up in a town where we could not go into the country club. We couldn't belong to the high school fraternities. My father couldn't belong to the Elks Lodge, but we were treated civilly as we walked down the street, but there was a definite difference between the Jews and the non-Jews. That has broken down in Atlanta. We now have a free mix between the two, but when it comes down to whether or not the Protestants consider the Jews a different group of people, it still exists. They think the Catholics are different. They think the Mormons are different, and vice versa on the thing. So it's not a one-way street. But the answer to your question is, does anti-Semitism exist? Yes.
All we can do is hope for a better future in which people will become more in touch with reality and maybe resolve issues in an intelligent process over the negotiation table rather than in violence. Let's hope for the best. And thank you so much for being with us. A pleasure. I'll be right back.
This brings us to the end of our special show produced on location in Atlanta. I'm Maya Peritz. Thank you for being with us.